The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered yet rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered yet rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered yet rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. So, you're all here. And Sesshin has started. I wasn't supposed to talk today at all. So David, who was to wear Shuso, was supposed to give the first Dharma talk, and I was going to speak about Rohatsu tomorrow. So I haven't a clue what I'm going to say. Okay, but I jotted down a few things, so we'll see what unfolds. Okay, what comes out. Our thoughts are with David and his family because his son is ill at the moment, and that's why he couldn't make it. So we all send him our best. I don't know what David was going to talk about. I think it was to do with Zen. Why Zen? What brings us here? What brings us here on Sesshin? To sit with sore knees and pains in our backs and thinking, when is that guy going to ring that bell? Well, we come here for our own individual reasons, all of us. We come to touch the true and deep mind. There are instances and moments in Sesshin when that happens. And there are many moments when it doesn't. There are many moments where we just sit there and not very much is happening. It's all a bit fuzzy, it's all a bit... We're in the body, we're feeling the limitations of our body, we're feeling the strain of sitting. We're distracted by sounds, memories, emotions. We hear the plane going by. Did you hear that plane going by this morning? Never hear that in the city. Out here in the deep, profound silence of 5:30 in the morning or 6 in the morning in the countryside. You hear the plane rumbling its engine in the distance. But every now and then on Sesshin, something happens. There's a moment of deep silence, of touching something really authentic and profound within oneself. And it might only be for a few moments throughout the day. And it comes and it goes. And it's beyond words. It's indescribable. It is unfathomable what that is that we perceive. It's got many names. It is enlightenment, it is satori, it is kensho, it is the whiff of the truth, the scent of the true dragon, as Dogen would say it. And on Sesshin, these moments come and they go. They're as transient as each whack of the hand that Mark does in the morning. He hits it once, you hear the sound, it echoes and is gone. The hand itself reminds us, great is the matter of life and death. Time swiftly passes and all is transient. Do not waste this life. And this transiency is in our deep moments of perception as well. When suddenly, beyond any comprehensible explanation, everything seems to be right. Everything seems to make sense, beyond sense. And these are the moments that can come and go in Sesshin, or not. Doesn't matter. We don't chase after anything in Zazen. We don't go looking for my experience. I don't go looking for yours or yours. We sit in sangha and we support each other. I can't see myself getting up at 5 in the morning too often without you guys around. So we support each other in sangha, but each journey is totally individual. So do not seek even the posture of someone else. Do not, as Kodo, the great Zen teacher, said, you can't trade even a fart with another human being. Right? Your experience is your own. So the way you sit, even your posture, is yours. This is your body, not mine, not the Buddha's, not Kodo Sawaki's, not some great Zen master. It is your body in this time and place. So one Sesshin, it is your Sesshin. It is your experience that needs no validation. It is valid itself. But just because it's an individual encounter with the truth doesn't mean that it's individualistic or selfish and cut off from the others. In Sangha and in Sesshin we set aside these egotistical drives. We wait to take our food in oryoki. We take it in a certain way. All the individual moving parts, the whole works of the Sesshin add up to the Sesshin. So, Neil striking the bell, Amory lighting the incense, Peter taking up the Incan bell, May making sure that the altar is ready, Mark finishing the last roll down of the Han on time. They all fit in together. We're all working as sangha in a very profound way. We are interdependent on Sesshin. Whether it's Kayla going out to pick a flower for the altar, or Kevin taking over the transmission of the hand from Mark. All of us have a role to play here. And we're traveling in the vessel, in the boat of Sesshin, because we need something to buoy us up and lift us up. And we do that and create that together. The vessel is the form, is the ritual, is everything around the Sesshin that's supporting our practice. This is creating the vessel that buoys us up and keeps us afloat. This is what Sesshin is. And what we're really marking in this winter Sesshin is Rohatsu. Now Rohatsu is traditionally December the 8th, so it's a few days ago. It's the day that we mark the Buddha's enlightenment, Bodhi Day. And well, we couldn't sit for December the 8th actually, so we're marking it now, this weekend retreat. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Rohatsu tomorrow. Rohatsu is the great awakening of the Buddha, the original Buddha, 2,500 years ago. Just a human being like you and like me, not a god, just a human being. And a human being who woke up to the truth of the way things are and who shared that insight and truth with all sentient beings. And we chanted the lineage of ancestors. You bet you thought they'd never end this morning. 93 generations of ancestors from Shakyamuni and the few names that come before him in the list of ancestors, right up to my teacher, Taigu, and his teacher before, Chodo Cross, and his teacher before, Nishijima Roshi, all the way back to Shakyamuni Buddha. And this transmission of the flame, this transmission of the light of awakening is what we mark in Rohatsu. So it's a great birth, a great remaking, renewing of our vision of reality. That's what we celebrate at Rohatsu every December. But of course, December is winter, it's the heart of winter. And on the 21st is the solstice, the shortest day of the year. So right here at the moment of darkness, we think of this great luminosity, this great awakening. Just like that image in Newgrange, the way Newgrange was built by the ancient Celts, or pre-Celts probably, to catch the sunlight on the shortest day of the year, to remind humanity of the light right at the darkest heart of reality. So that's what we're practicing here in Rohatsu. Well, outside, the flowers are hard to find. You won't find them till the conditions are right in spring. It's cold, it's harsh outside. It snowed during the night. It's quite beautiful to wake up and look out and see the snow outside. All over Jampaling, here in County Cavan. And I was thinking a lot this morning about a man whose funeral I did this week, the very first funeral I've done as a Buddhist priest. I got a call from the Mater Hospital on sometime early in the week, and they said, "Are you a Buddhist priest?" And I said, I am. We've been trying to find one for 2 hours. There's not many Buddhist priests knocking around Dublin. And so they called me in to give last rites to a man from Malaysia. His name was Calvin Poon Si Yin. And he was dying of lung cancer at the age of 41. And his 2 children were drawing pictures beside the bed. He was in the bed on a ventilator. His 2 children, 3 and 5, I think they were drawing pictures for their dad. And he was unconscious on a ventilator. His wife and his mother had flown in from Malaysia, and his brother, some members of his family. The kids were just drawing the pictures and putting them on the stomach and the chest of the father. It was totally heartbreaking, totally upsetting and awful. Very sad. His wife Sharon was there, and both of them were Buddhist, which most Malaysians aren't actually. Most are Muslim, but they came from a Chinese background. And it was very important to them to have ritual around the death, particularly to Sharon, his wife. You know, a lot of Asian people use Western names in their lives here in Western countries. So he used Calvin and she used Sharon. And so I chanted the sutras and I blessed Calvin. And then it was desperate the way, I mean, I was in the wrong hospital first. And I had to put on my robes in the oratory. I was in the matter private and I had to be in the matter public. And it was 4 o'clock. They wanted to turn off his life support machine at 4 o'clock. And so I got my robes on, and then the doctor came back, or the nurse, and said, "There's no one by that name here." And I went, "Oh." He says, "They're probably in the matter public." So I was running down the street in Dublin in my robes like this, with a backpack on my back, right? And the phone was ringing, and it was Sharon beside Calvin saying, where are you? We have to turn off the machine, you know? So I think those of us who've, been close to these situations of death, there's always these kind of weird, kind of Charlie Chaplin moments around them, Laurel and Hardy. It's like the comedy of life keeps showing its face at these moments. Probably if your own loved ones have died, there's all sorts of strange things like this. So I got to the matter. No one in Dublin gives a damn, by the way, if you feel like running through the streets in Buddhist robes. No one even looks at you, okay? So you just... and so I got to the matter, and in we went. We did last rites, and then they turned off the machine. You could see all these vital statistics, just like his body temperature dropping, and his pulse, his respiratory system, all being monitored. They were all going down very slowly. And it took him about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, to pass on. And so it was very slow and gentle, very slow. And then the doctor came in. The kids were just kids. They were eating potatoes beside, they were eating potatoes and playing with little, toys and, not really taking in what was going on. Then the doctor came in and said, well, Calvin has, he's passed on now, so we'd like to take out the ventilator. So they asked us to leave for 5 minutes, and then they pulled the curtain, and the kids kept looking in behind the curtain, to see what was going on. And we kept, or the parents, Sharon and the granny particularly, kept saying, don't look, we don't want you to see that. They removed the ventilator and we went in after 5 minutes, and the nurse or doctor had left his mouth open, which was a huge mistake. They should have closed his mouth. And little details like that are so important. And they said, can we have his mouth closed in this as well? Someone will come into that later. So, all these little human, just the total reality of life and death. Being in the wrong place, the wrong hospital, leaving his mouth open, the kids eating their crisps, drawing pictures. Just the banality, the ordinariness of our own life and our own death. How ordinary it is. My own dad has cancer at the moment, so it kind of really struck me, this whole experience this week, I think he's going to be fine, but he's undergoing treatment. I'm sure many of you have been through it with people you know, and how, again, ordinary it is. So here we are in the heart of winter, lighting a lamp, lighting a flame at the darkest moment. And things do look pretty dark sometimes. I mean, you think, particularly if you follow the news and current affairs, everything that's happening, there's so much darkness. And we're so desperately in need of some illumination to light things up. And this is the Great Awakening of Shakyamuni Buddha. Just a human being, ordinary person. If he was a god, it wouldn't cut mustard. It wouldn't work. He's one of us. He's you. He's just an ordinary person. No magical powers. No magic wand. We don't have that magic wand. It doesn't exist. Shakyamuni started out in his quest because he encountered old age, sickness and death. He saw a person suffering from old age. He saw someone sick. He saw a corpse. And he realized the reality of our existence and how transient it is. Now that's all very well for me to say, but when it's there in front of you, it's real. This is not theoretical. It's not theoretical. I was with my grandmother when she died as well, Sabina Mannion, and I remember when she died, there was a terrible smell in the room, terrible. And whether it was the body giving up its fluids or whatever, it was the smell of death. And that, I suppose I was 19 years old at the time, so that made a really huge impression on me. So that's how real it is. It's visceral. It is in no way an abstraction. And any of you who've got older parents or looked after older people know the difficulty of negotiating our own corporal existence and trying to keep human dignity throughout. So Shakyamuni saw all this very, very clearly, and he looked for a way to solve and redress it. He looked for what to do about the problem of suffering, how to become free from suffering. So he set off on his long quest, which led ultimately to sitting in Zazen under the Bodhi tree and having his great awakening. So what's this awakening? Do I think I did Calvin Poon C. Yin's funeral up in Ashford, what's it called? County Meath? Ashford, County Meath, that's it. Up in Ashford, County Meath. And then the day after, we went to the crematorium in Glasnevin. That was on Thursday. And so they're all sitting there, the relations and friends. And I used the standard Soto Zen funeral for lay people, which is actually an ordination ceremony, where the deceased gets a Dharma name and everything else. And so I say things like, he's gone to Nirvana, you know. He's gone to heaven, like, you know. Well, has he gone to heaven? No. You know? I don't think so. I don't think he's gone to heaven. You know, it's a nice story. I don't believe it. So does that mean we can't say there's no Nirvana? No, I don't think so. But has he survived death and woken up in a new life? Huh? I don't think so. So what's this Nirvana? Well, the nice story of heaven is a very limited creation of our own human understanding. It's almost childlike. It creates a nice story. But beyond that, there is a much greater truth, the deep ocean of truth, which contains both birth and death. And here, there is Nirvana. Here, reality is beyond the boundaries of my own limited life. Beyond my physical boundaries, my boundaries in time, my boundaries in space. So the image often used is that the individual life or individual phenomena are like a wave that emerge in the ocean and go back into the ocean again. Has the wave disappeared? Yes. It is gone. Gone. But it hasn't gone. And it's gone. And it hasn't gone. But it's gone. So, our dualistic understanding, no good. It's not going to help us out. This is, the truth is beyond our intellectual figuring out. We can sit around all day and say, oh, I'm an atheist. I'll have another cappuccino, please. And I'm a theist. I'll have an espresso. Right? And we can sit in the cafe all day and argue about it. Okay? We can say, cafe culture, the culture that is so important in European culture and which is vital. The culture of intellectual discussion, of rationality. Look at everything it's done. It is wonderful and amazing and shouldn't be devalued, but it will not answer these questions. Because the great ocean of truth is bottomless. It is deeper than our understanding. So, there is nirvana, there is fullness, there is sunyata. You are the entire universe. Your true body is the universe in every direction and in every time. The great ocean is your true body. The repose and silence of this nirvana after our life ends is maybe too deep for us now. We can panic, we can react in a panicking way about this ultimate silence that will come. But this silence also, and we know this when we sit zazen, we encounter the joy, the deep river of joy that is in this silence. We can feel its pull and hear its music in moments of insight beyond our intellectual understanding. Sitting in zazen, those moments of transcendence where the self drops away and we are oneness itself. Oneness that is not one and not two. Because within the oneness are all the individual bits of the oneness. You, me, tables, chairs, Buddha statues, flowers, ceilings, books. Never make the mistake of devaluing the relative realm in favour of the absolute, or the absolute realm in favour of the relative. Both together are the truth. That leads us back to that Zen teaching of carry water, chop wood. Just the ordinariness of the truth. Some guru going to give you the truth? No. No guru is going to give you the truth. The truth is, you've got it already. When you ring the bell, you ring the bell. When you strike the ham, you strike the ham. You light the incense, you light the incense. Warning bell, everything. That's it, that's the truth. Nothing is hidden in the entire universe. Nothing is hidden. Page 10. May the merits of these teachings penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together may realize the Buddha's way. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Mahaprajna, Para